yesterday, well, let's just say, we saw how effective a Sombra Doomfist point A defense on Hanamura actually is.
Not very. Not in the face of Monkey Goats, it's not. And in fact, that's exactly what Morning Stars are going to roll out the gate with.
Let's see and hope that Young and Beautiful can prove the contrary to what we saw yesterday with this particular defense.
Yeah, rolling out a Monkey Goats is just fantastic because of the mobility you have with the diving potential there, as well as the shields. Interesting that Morning Stars are bringing Lucio and Anna in this case as well. Sometimes you'll mix things up and tend to go for more like a something like a Moira in there to keep yourself alive as you go for the big push through the gate. In fact, they're changing things up even more and bringing the Sombra themselves now. Casper switching over to that. Interesting. Okay.
You go over the gate.
That's
and immediately drop down onto the team. Wasn't going to be able to get the hack off until Graceful's just left out to the wind. Cat's going to pick that one off. Malzaza did lose his life as well, and Ding's going to follow up with a second kill. So normally you'd have the spawn advantage and you'd be able to win the successive fights, but if you're trading multiple members for one and you're on the defensive side, you're going to be able to maintain control of that point.
I feel really bad because I feel like I'm harrying on about the guy, but Graceful then needed to wait until they went for the dive with Winston before he tried to engage the backline. You dive into a ball of 5 or 6 as a Doomfist, only one thing's going to happen. You are going to die, and that's exactly what happened.
I think mainly died because he was hacked. He couldn't move. Like, if you're Doomfist and you have no abilities, you are effectively useless. Nano Boost being applied. Someone on Young and Beautiful's got a hold of that. I believe they are not on the point contesting it. They're off somewhere else doing it. But still, Morning Stars on the point. Exoraf giving over that Nano Boost to Malzaza on his Winston, who you praised before the map started. Leaf picking up a double kill and just going to pick off Graceful as well. So, yet again, that Sombra Doomfist defense, point A Hanamura, proving to be problematic in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I think we saw it work once for 2.5 minutes, and in the other 4 rounds we saw, it just got literally rolled over in the first fight every single time. But again, it's a piece around what you're actually playing this comp for, is you're not really looking to go into a direct engagement with a tank-heavy comp. You're looking to get the picks off, you're looking to get the hacks down to key members. You collapse those supports out, your tanks can win the war against their tanks, because Goats relies so heavily on having healing on that front line, so you just keep on trading away, and in that war of attrition, you just win out, or so is the hope.
Here's the rally nice and early for Morning Stars. They push onto the point, sending Malzaza up there. There's the EMP hacking multiple members on the side of Morning Stars. Nobody's hitting the floor. Sound barrier came out afterwards, keeps everyone topped up. Casper has an EMP of his own. Going after Suna, can't recall. He's been hacked up by the EMP. And Exoraf picks him off out of the sky. There's going to be a transcendence from Ding onto the point, trying to keep everyone topped up. There's Graceful flying off in the distance. Needs to take cover from that self-destruct. He's hiding up in the corner. He was gifted a nano boost by Ding as well, I believe. He's unable to get anything done with that until he dives back into the fray. Suna finds Malzaza, probably hacked him up and locked him up. Danny, the Dragon Eddie, being dropped down to the floor. He's singing a Transcendence, hacked up. That's going to expire by the time the Transcendence does. Should be able to live through this one as Casper gets a D-Mech onto Danny and follows up with a kill onto Tonic. There's another EMP, the third one used in this particular fight. I believe Morning Stars have to fall back and close ranks a little bit, and then push back out onto the point. You're going to use that spawn move for cover, but they've given up over 75% of the points so far. Here comes another Transcendence from Young and Beautiful onto the point. You're going to keep blasting through it, and another EMP, number 4 of this fight. This just keeps going on because the reinforcements are coming in, the kills are coming in so slow. Meteor Strike's going to land on top of that small little tower. Graceful left out to die. Nano Boost, wasted opportunity there. Ding putting it into Graceful before he immediately dies. 93% self-destruct to clear the point, buys him enough time. The fight wasn't conclusively won, but the point certainly was.
Left out to die, left out to dry. I mean, I don't know. It was a bit scrappy again from Young and Beautiful. Doomfist not really doing it for them there, whereas Monkey Goats on the other side did a lot of favors for them. That's Sombra actually being a very useful pick as well, because every single time the Doomfist came in, Casper was there straight away with that hack down, made him absolutely useless, and down he goes, just showing him them fingers to go, hey, see you later.
No, it's hover handing.
It's hover handing.
What all Sombras do.
Well, it's hover handing, and the next draft on the other side was throwing them palms as well at the other side of the back line as well. So contested for most of it. He got threatened, I think, once by Graceful in that, in the very end fight. And even then, the rocket punch missed. So it was like, well, this is no problem for us.
Sombra players are the players that hover hand, though, the most, I imagine.
You just walk around, hold it down, like, who's going to get hacked first? Everyone's like, no, please, not me.
Well, I'm talking about it in real life, but never mind.
We'll go with it. So for Morning Stars now, they're the ones on defense. And I wonder, actually, I think it would be the first time we see a full hold potential on first point of Hanamura. They are the team it feels who can do it after how they've been playing so far today. But I think every single Hanamura point we've seen so far has always gone through to second. So maybe it's time for something to change here in Europe.
I think Morning Stars are putting Dezachu and Exoraf up on the high ground using the teleporter as what they've usually done. Is get them up there, I believe.
This is Windstrike style.
Yeah, something that Windstrike have done. Dezachu and Exoraf. I believe Casper's going to walk Leaf back to the point, change him over, and they're both going to come back out on highly mobile heroes, Doomfist and Sombra. So they're going to attempt this as well, and maybe we might see the first effective Sombra Doomfist defense.
I like it, because if you see the Zen and the Ana off to the right-hand side to the left of your screens just now, generally you'll see teams push into the small hut, push round behind, force them back onto the points that are in a less favourable position, whereas up here, the only ones that can threaten them is anyone with any kind of vertical movement. On the other side for Young and Beautiful, yes, okay, they've got 2 tanks that can do that. If they dive on that high ground, you leave your own supports completely exposed. And given how Exoraf and Tridd have been playing so far today, and a very strong duo between them, I'd fully expect them to be able to win that duel out.
Just saw Graceful sneak in through the back line. He's going in to find out where these supports are and hopefully punish them. Speaking of punishment, Gustav being punched against the wall. So they're 1 man down. It's going to slow the pace of the game for Young and Beautiful a little bit more.
Does mean at least that first attack has been slowed down. Oh, nice catch there with the right click onto Ding as well. But looking here as well, Suna's lurking around off to the backside. I think he's kind of giving up on what he was looking to do originally because he's still waiting for his team to get in. But immediately, his aim should always be those supports, but he can't touch them because of that high ground they're sat on.
Graceful's just left him alone as well. He's going, you know what, Suna? Just, we're all going to bug out. We're going to try something different. Already a minute burn, though, before they've made these changes, and they're heading towards Goats.
When in doubt, Goats it out. This might be the one time when Goats actually works out for them. It's because Morning Stars aren't matching it. But if Morning Stars win this, they've shown they can match Goats, they can beat Goats, they can play Goats. What are you going to do after that?
Well, they're going to put themselves into a confined space, back off away from it. There's no point in trying to contest them. Let them get what they want. They're going to have to come to the point eventually. A lot of charge being put on to Malzaza there. He's just going to car wash them as they go across that top awning. Get onto the point. Rocket Punch not going to connect with any terrain to deal that extra damage and potentially get a kill, but he's close to that Meteor Strike. Gets the punch off, making someone very weak. Seismic Slam into the uppercut. Who's going to be the target, or is he just going to use it? Get back to a safe position. All the way onto the back line. Leaf smart enough to know he hasn't got the HP to continue this fight. They're on the point. It's being conceded over to Young and Beautiful. They've got those tank bodies on the point. Self-destruct sent into the back. EMP, no shields available. Going to play around terrain, but Ding's still caught out. And that's Tonic on the point, all on his lonesome. Ready to be picked off by Morning Stars, who keep this defense alive. Dez, we've seen it. The successful Sombra Doomfist defense.
And very, very clean as well, because they only expended 2 ultimates in that. They had the EMP and the self-destruct coming out, and they were happy with the 2 kills that those ults netted them, and they were confident in being able to clean up the rest of the team based on those 2 picks alone. They've still got the ability to play with that nano boost into the Winston Primal Rage to essentially create an eternally living monkey who's so difficult to kill, and Dezachu have the nano boost already.
Being used, and as well as the EMP to shut down Young and Beautiful's movements. They're locked in that small confined space, and well, Dragon Eddie, he was locked in there with them. Nice Surf Shatter shuts down Leaf. They need to focus him, but the Transcendence is there to keep everyone topped up. I believe that's a Graviton Surge pulling him against the rock. Malza's going to pop that Primal Rage. No nano boost to make that Immortal Monkey, as you said it, Des, but it's enough to keep disrupting Young and Beautiful and stop any real progress happening. Goomba Stomp onto Gustav, takes him out as well. Suna, without that ultimate, needs to start building it again as the damage is still coming out onto Morning Stars, but they've got the bodies back on the point. Well, hang on a minute, Leaf, you need to get out of there. He's going to go down. Well, no, he's not. Casper will instead. So they're missing 1 DPS. They've still got Leaf available, and Eddie's dropping as well. Dezachu, 80% is going to drop. So, Morning Star's successful initial hold can't keep it up for the entire duration. That's going to be Young and Beautiful moving on to point B.
Just taking 3.5 minutes, and already that puts the time bank at a better spot for Morning Stars than what Young and Beautiful have even got remaining. Unlucky for Dezachu, actually, because I thought his ult went up from 50% to 70 incredibly quick, and I thought if he can get that online and nano boost Mozasa here, like I said at the very start of that fight, that could be the big game changer for them. That sudden burst of healing, the extra damage that he dishes out, and of course damage resistance, meant that he would have been able to deal a lot more damage to the backline of Young and Beautiful's lineup. They're going straight for the point though, and Leaf is following them in.
I like that Leaf tried to go for an uppercut to knock him off the bridge. Didn't need to, because they just walked into a death box here on the point. He's going to buy some more time. Very low, needs that healing. Who's trying to find it? Getting targeted a little bit by Gustav, who will go for the retreat afterwards, as will Graceful. Malzaza finds him on the exit. Morning Star's going to maintain control of the majority of their ultimates. Young and Beautiful still need to build up a few of their own. They're already playing with less time than Morning Stars.
Yeah, Morning Stars are in a nice spot here where they can basically repeat on second point, which is already massively defensively favoured, with what they did in the last point, which is stagger those ults out, use 1 or 2 a fight, keep on rolling over, because by all these heroes that they've got on their side actually will build that ult charge very, very fast off the back of of other ultimates being used. Haven't got to worry too much about not having any online, and already Casper's found Ding there. That's all off just one EMP, Tridd.
It's an EMP, Violet Grenade thrown at him as well to shut down the healing. The rest of Morningstar's going to roll through this one. Tridd will get stunned up. It's inconsequential. Sleep Dart so close to landing on that extremely mobile Lucio. Won't find any joy this time. Going to try it again. 3 minutes 10 on the clock.
I've now got the option again, that flexibility with the nano boost onto either the Doomfist like we saw last time, or you can use it onto Malzahsa and let him just dive in and cause absolute chaos in the backline. No Transcendence online and no sound barrier available for Gustav does mean that this next fight could be very lethal for Morningstars and could end incredibly quickly.
There's the rallies. They move through. High ground. Uncertain of whether they'll take that. Instead, they're opting for, we'll call it the middle ground. They
Graceful.
move around the top. Where is Graceful?
He was
What
sat
is he
watching
doing?
the Doomfist coming from behind, but he still managed to get in there, look.
Well, Meteor Strike, the get out of jail free card for Leaf, moves back to his team, uses it for defensive purposes rather than offensive. Receives the healing from the supports who are playing around that terrain. Malzahsa again wants to get as much ult charge as possible. Remind you, he's got the ult charge already. Maybe just going for damage, grabs himself, pulls
nice.
Leaf. The nano boost is pulling them together as well. Tries to block it out, but there's no one to shield it. 3 people going down to Danny's self-destruct as well as a D-Mac. If there was ever a time for Young and Beautiful to win point B, it has to be off the back of that.
But look at the ultimates they've got on side here. They've got self-destruct, they've got primal rage, but they've got to touch the point. Now they're being pinned back. Finally someone's touched it, but they can't get back on. They don't even get a chance to stall with those big ultimates they had on side. Young and Beautiful with one fight managed to catch point, and that is every single team is unable to defend Hanamura. Honestly, I don't know what's going on this season, but no one seems able to handle it. No one can just crack the defensive side of this.
Well, it is what it is, Des, and we're just going to have to suck it up and roll with the punches. 2 minutes 6 on the clock for Young and Beautiful. Over double that time back left for Morningstars. Quick point A, quick point B. Morningstars should be able to complete with the time remaining. Young and Beautiful, slow to break through that initial defense. Very resilient from Morningstars, the Italian-based organization roster. It's going to be trying to do that again on point A and really leave pittance, or tuppence, shall we say, for Young and Beautiful to play with moving on to point B.
Very curious to see if Young and Beautiful roll out with standard goats here, knowing what Morningstars did on their last defense just a second ago in terms of where they were getting the supports to. They're going for the exact same trick again, both going on the little windy run around the rooftops of Hanamura, getting themselves on the high ground, taking the corner each. It's almost a race to who can get up there first. Like, it's almost a perfect angle to get yourself a tiny little push up. Like you just saw Exarath get.
Right, what I don't understand is if you're using the Symmetra to do this, why don't you just port them on top of the roof? Why are you putting them on the awning that's around the outside of the point?
I think because you can't reach it anymore, or you can't get the angle onto it anymore. Don't forget it used to be May that used to do this trick before as well, where you boost them up with the May.
Very true.
If you can't see the top of that rooftop, it's very hard to get it down there, and you can't place a teleporter on the actual roof side itself.
Okay. Well, Young and Beautiful, they're going to move over. I think they're aware of where Morningstars are. Casper trying to go for the drop hack. I don't believe he got that one off on Young and Beautiful too fast through the choke points. Time to move across that balcony. Up and down for Malzahsa. Going to wash them on his way with that lightning. Pick up some extra ult charge. A little bit of damage as well, but they're going to heal that all up before they transition to the point. Forcing away some tanks. There's the Rocket Punch charge. Leaf in the middle of the action. Jumps immediately back out. Malzahsa and the rest of the team using this high ground. Playing around the supports off the point in that safer position. Rocket Punch finds Gustav. He goes straight through the point to get that one. Tonic going low. Protected barrier will keep him up. So they're missing one element of this composition, but very close to the spawn room. Should get away with having the reinforcements unless Morningstars push the attack and get more aggression out onto Graceful. Yet again, going low, comes back up. Nano boost onto Malzahsa. Driedro finds Tonic off to the side. Malzahsa finds Ding as well. That's one support too many down for Young and Beautiful. But Gustav and Suna are turning it around. Leaf's going to go down. So is Exarath. A D-Mech and another kill for Gustav as he finds Malzahsa. Young and Beautiful not going to be deterred twice. They're going to cap point A and move on to point B.
They're dying with so many ults online as well. Transcendence is just about to come up for Exo. They've got the self-destruct on Dragon, and they've got the two ults on Casper and Malzahsa, and they managed to mess it up. The Primal Rage online as Malzahsa died as well, which is the worst part. He had that option. And I do like how the nano boosted him though. He managed to get in the back line, bring down one of the supports. But I felt they could have capitalised a bit quicker when that Lucio wasn't around. No mobility on this Goats lineup. Pretty easy to dive in there and cause some chaos. But Young and Beautiful now with a great opportunity potentially to upset Morningstars here and cap second once again.
Gustav was actually hiding around the back of that team, waiting for something to happen so he could possibly protect his backline. Not too much effort done though. He was focused out. Ding going to go down as well as Suna. So they've already lost a couple of bodies with 30 seconds on the clock. Young and Beautiful need to win fast or die fast so they could try it all over again. They're opting for the retreat. Gustav will fall down. Not much stagger available. 30 seconds on the clock. Final attempt for Young and Beautiful.
It's really interesting watching Leaf play Doomfist because he's actually very defensive for a Doomfist player. He goes in with the combo, beats his way back out, and more often than not, actually you see him using his ultimate very defensively. Really interesting thing he did on first point was charge at the rocket punch, jump off the back line, and then straight through the enemy team, caught out Gustav on the Lucio, which is what ultimately caught him out. The team just couldn't capitalize and bring the rest of the team
nice
down.
grab, he shoots it straight at the ceiling, knowing that's the position Morningstars wanted to take, and they get themselves onto the point safely. Self-destruct going up and over. EMP
Beautiful.
time, beautifully by Morningstars. Dragon Eddie, the recipient of 3 kills, gifted with love from Casper, as they're going to close out this offense. They're going to shut down Young and Beautiful, just over 33%.
Very used to seeing shield bash combos and things like that, but it's a little bit more uncommon to see the EMP straight into self-destruct. Normally, it's you EMP, then the self-destruct comes out. Beautiful timing, had no chance of disrupting that as well. Really, really well played to clean things out. Not a lot needed as well. 35.6% all they have to beat on the second point to take away Hanamura and the series.
It's not a tall order. 35.6% on point B. Point A's offense, very quick. Point B as well. I mean, they finished in 3 minutes 30. Last time around, Young and Beautiful might be able to learn from their mistakes on the defense, put up more of a fight against Morningstars. They're going to try that Sombra Doomfist defense again. We saw Morningstars have probably the most successful run of that in Contenders so far. Hopefully Young and Beautiful have picked up a few tricks, or they're able to enact whatever they had planned a little bit more effectively.
Like we always say, Graceful's one of those super flexible DPS players, and it wasn't super impressive for them last time they ran it. Although Morningstars have just shown great success with it as well, so maybe we do see them try and employ it themselves and say, hey, we've learned something in these 2 rounds where we've been slapped about by Leaf's Doomfist a bit. I'm sure we've got some ideas we can bring to the fore here. Question is what Morningstars are going to run on the other side and how they have to respond to that in kind. Very, very similar sort of setup again. You're running this sort of dive-based composition, except you're running with that triple support and the solo DPS being the Sombra.
Sooner getting a cheeky little scout in. They're going to send Malzaza up there with the Tesla cannon straight away to spy check that area. And, well, Sooner knows he's already out of that one. Casper moving forward. Going to keep a lot of pressure on that door. Hello, Casper. Where did you come from? Going to get into the middle of the fight and get immediately back out. He knows it's not a safe position. 4 minutes 10. Still to go for Morningstars. Doesn't look like any adaptations are coming out. They're going to stick with this composition they try to attempt as Dredro goes up high. The
reason why Diva is constantly spraying the gate here as well is to catch out Sombra if she comes through. But both times he's gone a different way over the top or through the window to make sure he didn't get spy checked.
Malzaza has that awning that they used last time for their supports. And you see Tonic going up there to contest them as they move through a different angle to what Young and Beautiful took to break through this offense. They've trapped someone in the corner and hacked out Sooner. Nowhere for him to go. Tried to stun up Malzaza. Graceful swoops in with the elbow drop to kill Malzaza. Follows up with a rocket punch onto Leaf. So despite catching Sooner very early on, Young and Beautiful still able to put up a valiant defense as they're pushing back multiple members. Danny to clear out Casper, and the rocket punch from Graceful takes Dragon Eddie off the map. Dredro just going to go for the reset. They know this push is over.
Better fight out Graceful there as well. Right place, right time to pick himself up 3 kills throughout. Looking for Morningstars, I think it's more waiting for these crucial ults to come online. Looking towards Exorath with that nano boost again onto Malzaza. One of the big picks that you want to go for there. And we've already seen what Casper can do when he has that EMP in combo with Dragon Eddie. I'm curious to see how much they hold on to though and try and use for the second point push. Last time around they managed to clean over it incredibly quickly with that combo. I imagine they try and go for the same thing again here.
Just going to walk it down on the low ground. Dredro comes in, amps up the healing to keep everyone up, and Tonic wasting a lot of time here with this nano boost. He's been pushed back. Exorath gifted that one over to Leaf, I believe.
Yep.
We've got that rocket boost coming in. Hang on a minute. Graceful drops down with the meteor strike, moves back to his team. He's playing defensively with his ultimates as well. There's the seismic slam, goes for the uppercut. Dragon Eddie being pushed off the map.
Again.
Doesn't have the rocket boost, as Graceful's done that twice now to Dragon Eddie to get himself an advantage for Young and Beautiful. They're playing around the terrain and the environment incredibly well this time around, Des.
Absolutely are, and Morningstars have even said, right, okay, no more of that Exorath, get back onto Zen and get those frags in for the boys. 3 ultimates, I should say, coming online for Morningstars to go for a push. The one on the other side of Young and Beautiful. It just feels that Young and Beautiful actually are cushioning this aggression coming out of Morningstars very well. Again, no goats are involved though. Morningstars show they can counter it, they can mirror it, they can play it, but they're not playing goats right now, and that's what might be catching them off guard.
They're going to move forward, rally, as well as the speed boost, gets them onto the point to contest. 6 bodies there, now finally comes in. Hacked up Malzaza, not much he can do. Sub 100 HP, still alive by the skin of his teeth. Won't pop that primal rage, didn't have to, had no option until now as the self-destruct goes onto the back line. Slept up Malzaza, immediately woken up. That's a bit of a mistake for Young and Beautiful to try and trigger that one, as Graceful covers for that mistake with the immediate kill. Here's an aggressive dive in from Graceful to find Tridd again. Jumps around looking for support. Seismic Slam, but he's in the middle of 3 of them with no cooldowns. What are you going to do? Leaf's going to drop you. Danny gets the D-Mech on the Dragon Eddie, and the rest of Morningstars push onto the point. Still being contested out by Danny. A lot of this time back has been burned. There's a potential for more of it to still be used as kindling.
I love how Leaf was basically like, I'm the main tank now, and charged forward onto Danny as he pushed forward. 60 seconds remaining though, and they're still going to be able to close this one out. The EMP comes through from Casper.
That's unfortunate. They have to commit that one, knowing they now have to regress onto point B.
Bit of an overburn, absolutely, but the Transcendence is online. They've got the rally, they've got these things to lay up, and the sound barrier isn't too far away, so they're pushing in essentially with almost exclusively support ultimates. Casper's even going to swap away from the Sombra because he knows it's very unlikely he'll get an ult online in that time. Going to go towards something a bit more useful during the downtime when ultimates aren't there. It's going to be the Zarya.
Push on to the points, and there's a little bit of delay on Tonic's landing. The rest of the team's there. Multiple people hit by Graceful's ability. Self-destruct will clear the point. They're being knocked back. Nano Boost applied. I believe that's on to Tonic, who's going to spray down the rest of the team. Transcendence keeps everyone topped up. Biotic Grenade actually huge onto the back line. Will deny the healing from a lot of sources, and Danny, sorry, going to have Caspian picked off in the chaos. Ding with the double kill. Tonic follows up with a D-Mech. Cool. This is a one fight for Young and Beautiful. 30 seconds on the clock. Final attempt for Morningstars.
Gustav very, very patient with that trans as well. It would have been easy to burn it when Graceful and Tonic both went sub 25% HP, but he is held onto it, knowing there is potentially one more fight coming in here, and there's only the sound barrier available on the other side.
The Holts for Young and Beautiful. They got 4 in their pocket. Relatively quick for Ding to get his one back, and Danny, depending on the damage, could also get it in the fight as well.
And only sound barrier for Morningstars. Okay, yeah, they've got a couple more tank ults coming online, but they aren't going to be the big winners, I think, here. Potentially the support ult count might be just more than enough for Young and Beautiful.
Meteor Strike onto the pedestal, get some high ground position. EMP is going to shut down a lot of options for Morningstars. Dragon Eddie will find Graceful. Tonic with the primal rage onto Exo Wrath, and he's still going to keep it going as Malzaza's one is expired. Self-destructs being traded up into the skies. Casper just thanks him for the donation to the energy as he cuts through sooner with that added beef he's got behind that laser. Danny now feeling the hurt from that until a Sleep Dart comes out, and Gustav trying to answer. Hang on a minute, they've been pushed off the point by the uppercut and the seismic slam. You have to waste boosters to get in there. Low HP. Graviton Surge pulls them together. Where's the damage to clean up off the back of this? You've got a D-Mech Dragon Eddie trying to contest as you D-Mech Danny yourself, but cut him out of the sky with your laser. Transcendence coming in for Morningstars, keeping them topped up, but the support's untouched on the back line. You're going to have to force them to come out here and contest, but they're trying to get there until Malzaza comes in. Ding, taken out before the Transcendence comes through for Gustav to keep him alive. That's huge to miss one support, but they're playing against a spawn advantage. I don't think they're going to be able to finish this one as the kills keep coming in for Young and Beautiful. They're starting to take back control, Des.
They absolutely are. Only 3 members left alive with that sound barrier on. The EMP immediately comes through. Casper is still getting in the kill feed, but now he's gone down to Suna. This one's pretty much done and dusted. It's going to be Young and Beautiful against all expectation, taking the map against Morningstars.
Keeps the series alive for one more map. The scoreline obviously being 2-1 in favor of Morningstars, but Young and Beautiful down and not out in this matchup.
Really impressive as well, actually. A very small shout out to Tridd at the very, very end. He almost managed to pull it back for Morningstars by using the sound barrier as the EMP came through. So yes, his team were completely disabled and couldn't do anything, but the sound barrier was there to keep them alive. But also, again, even another shout out, I suppose you could say, to Young and Beautiful, showing that great resistance, the willpower to come back and fight back against it. Caspian had a fantastic time in that Zarya, built that ult up incredibly quickly, but sadly wasn't enough to stop the onslaught coming out of Young and Beautiful, and now we've got a series on our hands. Well, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for the conclusion, as we're going to jump to a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you map number 4.
Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders Europe. We're about to conclude this series between Samsung Morning Stars and Young and Beautiful, who just won their first map of the series. Meaning we're at a 2-1 scoreline, potential for a 5th map, but we are moving on to Morning Stars' pick, and it's going to be an escort type to finish off the series, potentially. Unless, of course, we go to that tiebreaker control map.
Well, Young and Beautiful showed that when Goats isn't on the field, they actually stack up relatively well against the side of Morning Stars. So I'm very curious to see if they can make this work for them by employing against something a bit different, forcing Morning Stars away from playing on that Goats-based comp. And Graceful, gotta say, called him out a little bit on the first 2 maps, wasn't playing super well, had a very, very good Doomfist on the second half of Hanamura.
Here's the problem, though, right?
Go for it.
He was mainly playing Brigitte on those first 2 maps, and I feel as though Brigitte is a more important hero to get down than Doomfist in the current way that Overwatch is played. Yes, fantastic performance on the Doomfist, that's fair enough, but the shortcomings on his Brigitte so far really costing his team, mainly Tonic, who's being, quite frankly, bullied on these tank compositions against Morning Stars.
The best one's when he puts his shield up and his teammates are not behind the shield there to either side of him. It's just like, which way do I move?
That's unavoidable from Tonic's point of view, and that happened a couple of times on Mecha Base.
Yes.
What I'm saying is when he's been beaten out by Bash Shatter combos that occasionally we've seen happen, and
yes.
I feel as though having better support over to Tonic could help him be a stronger frontline for his team.
A lot of it comes down to what I think is these guys actually, when they're playing dive-based comps where you all have different focuses and different intentions, is good. When they're having one sole focus intention as a team, it's a little bit different. But let's see if they can make it work now as well. They've got Time to Torbjorn's being brought out on the attack. I imagine that's going to go away very quickly. Yes, it will. I think they're more waiting more than anything else to see what the other side were going to deploy and then try and bring something out to fight it. Morning Stars know that so far this series they've won in the head-to-head Goats. Why change that now?
I'd like to know if there was a tactical reason to do it. I highly doubt there was.
No, scouting.
But I'd like to ask Rejo and see if there was a reason he particularly did that beyond memes.
He's making you happy.
Oh, he's not. It's the exact opposite of what he's doing. Exoraf getting the D-Mech onto Danny. Malzaza, of course, killing Graceful. Tonic's left isolated. Orb of Destruction left on him. Sorry, Orb of Discord left on him. It's just easy pickup for Exoraf to kill. Young and Beautiful might be getting a few kills in their favor, but for the most part, it's going over to Morning Stars. That payload will get in motion. Burned a minute of the clock already, though.
Absolutely, and again, this is where I had concerns, is that Young and Beautiful will probably not win this head-to-head against Morning Stars. The only time I see it working is when they've got ults online. This is the problem, is that dead time is when neither side have got big ults to be able to roll with, because Morning Stars will win that fight, they will charge ults quicker, they'll be able to get these combos out on the field a little bit quicker than Young and Beautiful will. Maybe get one more fight here as well, because already it's making its way past the garage. Young and Beautiful got the high ground advantage for now, but look how much damage Ding taken already.
There's a lot of damage coming out. Graviton Surge pulls Morning Stars together. It's just Casper locked on one side of that payload. Transcendence keeps everyone topped up. And they've turned the fight around. Malzaza takes out Graceful and the D-Mech from Dragon Eddy. Malzaza there to clean up again. We think that too. Make it 3 as Casper follows up. It's Morning Stars moving forward, and they're not looking at stopping anytime soon.
Every time I look at Danny as well, he's static. He's not using those boosters to get into a more favorable position, because even there, where Young and Beautiful have caught 3 members of Morning Stars in a grav, he got D-Mech'd. It wasn't even the enemy D.Va getting caught. He got D-Mech'd, they lost their main tank, and everything fell apart from there. If you can't even win with ultimates online, you're in trouble.
Well, Danny put himself into a difficult position there. Still finds Dragon Eddy, who was out of his mech from the self-destruct. Exoraf's going to find Tonic. Eager Beaver from Danny is costing his team, because Exoraf there to frag out onto him and the other members of the tank line. Casper follows up, gets Ding and Graceful. It's going to be another one fight for Morning Stars. Their 3rd in a row, not really being contested by Young and Beautiful on this composition yet.
Moment of truth, I feel, for Young and Beautiful as well. Can they get this shield Earth Shatter combo down, or shield bash Earth Shatter combo down, I should say. They got both those ultimates online to play with as well if they want that extra armor just to help them back up in this next fight. But it's the same story for Morning Stars. Leaf is about to get his ultimate, and Malzaza is sat on that fatty shatty once again. He's already deployed a few in this series. Let's see if he can make the next one connect as well.
Got it available for him, Leafs. Going to have that rally to answer Graceful shortly enough. Goes down to Shatter, Sooner and Ding off to the side, finally getting a Shatter off onto multiple members of Morning Stars as well. So both teams not playing behind those Reinhardt shields, being caught out for it. Ding's going to take out Casper, so 1-for-1 trade will level it out so far. Drijo tipping the scales in favor of Morning Star once again by finding Graceful, and Exoraf just on the back line, throwing out those orbs. Gustav is his target. Nice little ding to the head, takes him off the map. Speaking of which, Ding's been forced way back to the spawn room by some aggressive tank plays. Leaf going to finish him off, and make sure to stagger it out a little bit further. 3 minutes on the clock for Morning Stars. They're about to get halfway through this second section.
They managed to catch one on the side of Morning Stars, but that counter shatter came through and caught out 3 on the side of Young and Beautiful, and that ensuing fight once again. When it comes to Goats versus Goats, Morning Stars seem to have this one down, unfortunately, against Young and Beautiful. But realistically here, it's going to be very hard for them to change to anything, because once you get towards the third stage of the map, you want some ults online to be able to stall the other side.
Danny's HP
this is the problem.
going down.
Danny is always so exposed, and this boost is being used for at the wrong time almost as well, and being called out for it.
That grab is in the middle of nothing at the moment. I'm not sure what that connected to, but it's kept everyone pulled together. Shatter put into a shield by Malzaza, and the Transcendence is good to keep everyone topped up from Suna's grab. Malzaza's got a Shatter in his pocket, needs to block that self-destruct first, and has actually lost his shield, so he won't be able to do anything about it. Throws it off to the side, finds a couple of tanks, and the rest of his team wants to move forward to capitalize. Casper the only one to find Tonic, as Gustav's up high using those sound waves and those beats to deter any further aggression, but they're inside the saloon. Graceful's easy target to run over. Danny loses his mech. Ding takes out Malzaza, but I'm not sure what else he can do in this fight, as they're taking him all the way beyond the point, and now they retreat to deal with the stragglers who've been stalling it out. Transcendence being used for Ding. Keeps everyone topped up, and then he'll frag out Exoraf afterwards as they cut through Tonic, or at least try to. Casper there with high energy will be able to do the trick. Very slow, scrappy fights with no definitive winner, but that ultimately means the payload is not moving and works in favor of Young and Beautiful.
They've managed to stall out for a long time here, Young and Beautiful, despite a very sound strategical start to that fight for Morning Stars. It felt like watching the Char slide, because it was like hop forward together, hop back together, step to the left, dodge everything together. They're moving as a unit of 5 or 6, except for Exoraf, who just kind of came crawling off from behind the rock like, sorry guys, I'm late to dance practice here, it felt like. But outside of that, they ate Grav with their contact with the Trans, they blocked the Earth Shadow with the Tonic Shield, they managed to respond to the D.Va as well. They lost no members during that whole phase, despite having 3 ultimates thrown at them. The problem was that war attrition was lost over time, quite surprisingly. Morning Stars just took tons of damage on this entryway as well.
And they've isolated Malzaza and forced out the Trans very early on. Sound Barrier is the response from Young and Beautiful. It cost them something to do that. And hey, look at that.
Finally.
Tonic got that Shatter off with the Shield Bash combo. They were moving forward. Malzaza throws it out, and well, he doesn't really hit anyone for it. Dragon Lily's going to find Tonic with the self-destruct and the D-Mech on Danny. So they pretty much lost their tank line. Graceful, the only pseudo tank, is going to drop down as well. Only supports main for Young and Beautiful. The nice cleanup from Morning Stars should be able to force this into the final section of the map.
Yeah, Graceful, my man, doing it again, doing the Brigitte, going literally his one-man army into the back line, finds himself in a 1 versus 3 and can't even kill a mini D.Va. The health coming through from the Brigitte with that health pack is more than enough to put her back to full health and help her survive against that, so they can just punish it out from there. But both of us noted it. Finally, Young and Beautiful managed to make an Earth Shatter connect onto the enemy main tank. It didn't result in any kills because there was a great sound barrier out of the other side of Dreedron immediately afterwards. But Young and Beautiful at least have got themselves into a spot where there's only a minute and a half left on the clock here. It's better than we've seen some teams do. They've just got to hold them for a couple of fights, and at least that way Morning Stars won't fully complete Route 66.
Graviton Surge pulls him onto the corner. Who's going to push forward and capitalize on this one? Swinging the hammer. Casper isolated with the charge. Takes out the Zarya, so he's about 10% shy of a grab of his own. Going to have to wait till next fight to get that one off. Leaf takes out Gustav, but the rest of Morning Stars are in retreat. They've lost half their members. They can't continue the fight. We'll have ults coming online. Mainly the Transcendence. Close to the sound barrier, we're looking at those beefy tank ultimates as well. The Graviton Surge, Earth Shatter combination could be huge for Morning Stars on their next offensive.
Especially just on the inside of this third point as well. As you're playing on a tight corner, there is a great position there in which you can use that Graviton Surge that no one can prevent or stop connecting with at least a few members. But here they go on the push now as well, that Trans straight out of Exoraf.
Keeps everyone topped up, and they're fighting in the preferential area. Here we go, Trans to answer the Graviton Surge as expected. Pushing through, no one's going to die in that combination again. Push forward, Earth Shatter drops down. He's going to leave Leaf on the floor for Ding to take out afterwards. Sound Barrier's going to top them all up and push back. Nice boot to deter the aggression, but I think the outcome's still going to be the same. Young and Beautiful winning another fight with 20 seconds remaining for Morning Stars. They have one more attempt, assuming they don't lose any more people on the retreat to spawn.
Probably the best use of support ultimates I've seen Young and Beautiful use all series long as well, responding to the aggression on the Morning Stars, forcing them back, deploying Sound Barrier at the right time, Transcendence not too long before that, in response to the grab. Morning Stars have got one final chance to get this right, or Young and Beautiful could take us to map 5.
Self-destruct over the top, took out Gustav, and Leaf's already found Tonic. They have a Graviton Surge in their pocket for Young and Beautiful, but they know now they're playing in overtime. It's better to have a coordinated effort to stop the defense. They concede the fight. Team kill for Morning Stars. When they come back out, they can hit a huge combo and end it before completion.
If they even need to. I mean, Casper is in a great spot to be able to deploy this Graviton Surge and pin a few members back towards spawn, but they're waiting and waiting and waiting waiting. Will get eaten by a D.Va here if he chooses to pop it, but he's going to choose to save it instead for this fight.
Forcing him off the high ground with the Orb of Discord, drops it down straight onto the floor. There's that Graviton Surge, self-destruct over the top. Casper going to pull him back in with their own, but Danny found 2 with that self-destruct. That's the advantage that Young and Beautiful need. Unless they lose any members, they should be able to win it and end it here before the completion. So we know there's only going to be 1 attempt on either side. Graceful's there with further cleanup, as is Tonic. Transcendence is just as an extra precaution. That's going to be Morningstars being shut down shy of completing Route 66.
There's a real good mind game going on between Danny and Casper there as well. I thought Danny had used too much of his Matrix at the very start, and it did mean that actually Casper, as he dropped down, did get off the Graviton. Problem is, while that focus was going on for the side of Morningstars, Young and Beautiful had their own plan to get their own Grav down in the field, and well, you saw the difference. The self-destruct was there, it picked off those 2 opening members, and they managed to make it work out and hold Morningstars at bay. That does mean this map is guaranteed to complete, though, as there was no full completion. Don't believe it's actually possible for you to draw at 64.48, the exact same as the other side, or at least I've never seen it before. So either they fall short and Morningstars walk away with the series, or they exceed and we go through to a map 5. Definitely not the kind of result I would have pegged this down for on paper. I
believe it is possible, but incredibly unlikely.
It's coin flip. It's like having a coin land on its side.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's not going to happen.
It's probably not going to happen if you try it. Maybe if you do it like hundreds of times.
Maybe.
You might be able to pull off a draw, and you have to be coordinating. You have to be working together as both teams to make it happen.
And most importantly, why would you be trying to go for a draw, right? You have to work together to make it happen. Nah, I missed me with that. One side wants to win, the other one wants to win.
I want that fight money. I want the prestige of a series win.
Exactly.
Imagine taking down Morningstars in your second week match after, unfortunately, being unable to compete week 1. You've got a lot of climbing to do if you're in this position. You're by no stretch of the imagination are you out of playoffs by missing 1 week of play, right? Or just losing a 0-4 in 1 week of play. But you know, there's some tough opponents in your group. You need wins wherever you can get. If you take it from someone like Morningstars, then you're looking pretty good for playoffs contention. And you, more importantly, going to avoid trials next year.
I mean, Young and Beautiful are in a position to do this as well. They can protect. Oh, Casper was getting scouted out there, just missed on that one. But they're in a great spot to be able to do this, like you say. Is that now that they haven't got a full complete. They're just got to get it most of the way through that 3rd point. And now they're trying something a bit different. They're bringing Graceful out on that far. It's what the guys in the desk said they would have liked to see. And try something a bit different again, not match Morningstars in what they're doing. And this spam comp actually will work very well into the Doomfist and the Sombra.
Assuming someone just doesn't get instantly deleted by Lee.
Although Danny's already out of mech, of course.
Danny's getting D-mech'd. Casper going to be the person to finish off. We'll get the final blow on that mech. Seismic slam into the uppercut. Nice retreat from Leaf. He knows he can't commit to the fight. Casper picking off Tonic while he was CC'd, or in the moments just afterwards as well. So a very minor dent in the armor of Young and Beautiful, but it's enough to deter their progress on this payload.
At least a slow, steady start. They are going to change things up though as well. And themselves, they're going to roll out with a very similar style of setup, just minus the Doomfist, going for that solo DPS setup with the Sombra, as we saw one of the teams employ back on Hanamura. It was Morningstars who actually used this. Young and Beautiful thinking it's going to work for them here on Route 66 as well.
There's the uppercut onto Graceful. Going to decimate him, shall we say. Casper, very close to that EMP. Won't have to use it. Tries to go for the hack, but Danny, D-mech'd again. Not much you can do about it. There's an environmental reset option for him, just off to the side of the map. It's a polite way of saying it, I know.
That's very polite. I was about to say, that's actually a very nice way of saying it.
They're going to dive onto the back line. EMP was committed by Suna onto this fight, but meanwhile on the back line of Young and Beautiful, they're not going to have to deal alone. The fight gets carried over to where the EMP zone was by that Transcendence from Exo-Wrath. Cleanup is happening. Suna picks him off shortly after that duration ends. Progress on the payload, very stagnated. Suna finds another one. This time it's Leaf. Casper going to take out Ding, so there's no Zenyatta on the field at present to get into the fight sooner. Again, it's just the Sombras. It's the Sombras fragging out while everyone else is like, cool, I guess we'll just die then, right?
We'll die to the stealth machine pistol. Yep, not too much fun there, but great work by both sides to get that moving. And actually, it's Young and Beautiful. Sooner getting that triple kill, which is going to get them on the move. And he got 2 of the crucial supports, the Ana and the Zen, both being off the field, removes a lot of the potency out of this Morningstar side, especially again when you consider that one of those is Exo-Wrath, one of the big fraggers on this side of Morningstars.
Going to emerge out of that cave, straight onto the payload. Malzaza got to about half HP before being healed back up, and he's going back down there again. He's that follow-up healing from the rest of his team. They're fighting around a very confined space this time around. No more Farah for Graceful. Near perfect timing on the self-destruct to equal at the same time. Here comes Ding with that Transcendence, and an EMP's going to be layered on top of it. Casper to be taken out, as is Malzaza. There's not many options they can have if they're just denied all of their abilities. This should be Young and Beautiful pushing on to the next section of this map.
Absolutely shall. Good 3-minute hold coming out of Morningstars, but Young and Beautiful ultimately prevail, and no less. You can even see him in the final kill feed there, Sooner getting another 3 kills. Always kind of been told about this guy as a bit of a Tracer one-trick in some ways, quite similar to what Graceful was back in the early days, but Sooner showing actually he plays a very mean Sombra as well.
You say that, but now he's going to switch back over to the Zarya and head towards a more GOAT-based composition, shall we say. That's unfortunate for Tridd, just going to get fragged out underneath that car, doing all he can to stall.
Yep, like I say, GOAT's going to be the order, the dish put on the table here for both sides, fielding it around the second point. And last time around it was Morningstars who won out. Let's see if Young and Beautiful are built up in confidence to be able to turn this around.
Malzaza's got low ult charge, so Tonic should be able to catch up. Won't be out-shattered in terms of being able to get it up early anyway, but it's Casper they need to be worried about. It's getting close to that Graviton Surge. A lot of support ultimates available for Morningstars as well. Grav going to put them together. Just going to have that flail being swung as Casper's going to cut through the rest of the field. Finds Sooner and Gustav. Dragonade taking out Tonic. It's close to a team kill. Danny being the only person to escape, but they're going to take him right back to the spawn room.
It's like a mildly frustrating artificial choke for Young and Beautiful there, because where the payload was sat, it's kind of giving you 2 angles. Sure, you can try and jump over the payload, but you're forced to push left or push right. And neither of those are really ideal, because you're basically running in a straight line where you can just get rained on by the micro missiles. You can have the flame strike coming out of the Rhine. They will just literally pepper you no matter which way you try and go.
Well, they tried an alternative route. They've actually taken the high ground option away from Morningstar. It's going to come in at them. The old rope-a-dope around the payload. It's going to move in, but they pushed them into a choke, a confined area. That artificial choke, maybe. That self-destruct is an option, but Exo-Wrath finds a double kill just by himself, so whatever they had planned has immediately been pushed to the side by the efforts of just one fraggy boy.
And Malzaza seemed very happy there. Sat behind the payload, shielded up the whole time as well, letting Exo-Wrath get those early frags. But then he thought it was time for me to step up, get those flame strikes out, get those swings going and bring down a couple of kills for himself. So Morningstar showing that actually they can win on either side of the equation. They don't care where they're sat, in front behind payload, behind the payload. They don't care. They'll try and win anyway.
Coming up to that 130 mark for Young and Beautiful. Morningstars have conceded that ground they had. They're going to let them push it a little bit further, but
Tonic's playing so
one about
safe.
deterring that. Casper somehow gets a long distance grab in, self-destruct put into the corner. Charge was there to take out whoever could have blocked it as Tonic. It's going to be denied life simply by that self-destruct.
Beautiful combo, because the charge came through onto the Brigitte and the shield bashment onto the Rhine, so there was literally no shields available to keep anyone going, maybe from the Zarya, but they'd already seen that had gone down in the initial exchanges, and that's when you'll always see the Grav Surge coming out the other side, is when the D.Va has got no defense matrix, and ideally when the enemy Zarya has already used the projected barriers. 1
minute remaining for Young and Beautiful. Still the early stages of this second section before they can get more time. Malzaza finds Graceful. 1 might be enough. Transcendence being used, keeps Malzaza alive after he charges it into another person, but nobody's going to hit the floor yet.
Great
Huge shatter coming out of Tonic, and it's going to be the effort that his team needs to break this Morningstar's defense. 35 seconds remaining to get to that final point. There's another fight in Morningstars here to delay this and potentially end Young and Beautiful's chances of winning this map and taking this series to that 5th and final concluder.
Don't think anyone expected Tonic to bring out the Earthshatter there in that situation, but it worked. They got the full team kill there on the push, but it's going to be an overtime fight here to even be able to get towards this second point. You're looking towards that sound barrier on Tridd. He's had fantastic use of it so far, always dodging away from the combos out of the other side and deploying to protect his team. Now's the most important time for him to do it once again.
Well, here's Ding. He's got that Transcendence at 91% and climbing, so he should have that for this next fight, assuming he doesn't go down early. Graviton Surge for Casper is available, needs to time it correctly, puts it straight on top of Tonic. We're going to press forward on this one, cuts through the shield. Nice sound wave there to move them to the side, but ultimately inconsequential. Transcendence being used by Ding early, shatter onto multiple members of Morningstars. Young and Beautiful should be able to win this fight, but at least going to take out Tonic. There's the rest of the momentum from the Yab squad. They take out Morningstars, going to move on to this final section of the map. 1 minute 30 seconds to their name.
Morningstars giving Young and Beautiful a bit too much room here to execute, and again we saw Tridd do what I've been commending him for all series long. Again, the Earthshatter came through, he was off center, brought in with the sound barrier, but it wasn't enough to keep his main tank alive, and the rest of the team just crumbled around him from there once Malzaza was done and gone. They're pushing in now with the self-destruct on side, but Morningstars, they know they've got a bit of time here. They've built 3 ultimates up for themselves, and one of them is that Transcendence on Exo-Wrath.
Should be enough here. Big Shadow finds Gustav, Graceful, and all of his merry men. They're not going to be able to follow up on this one. Sound barrier being dropped as they push forward. Gustav fragging out on Leaf. They're already one man down for Morning Stars, wanting to commit to this fight a little bit further, build some ults up as they're using that Transcendence from Exo-Wrath. A stunned up Malzaza is next to useless. As soon as going to cut through him with that Zarya, and the rest of the team's going to drop down here. Young and Beautiful are going to push around that first corner. Still got a little bit of distance to go. 30 seconds left on the clock, but they're on the home stretch.
One more fight to force it to the 5th map. That's how close Young and Beautiful are for turning around what was a terrible first half, probably the worst they could have imagined. They're about to take 2 maps on the bounce against Morning Stars and force them to a 5th. That's incredible.
Well, there's the Graviton Surge to kick things off from Suna, pulls them together, moves around to the side, away from that self-destruct, but he's stunned up on the back line now, and the sound barrier is going to keep Morning Stars in this game as they push back onto Danny. He's got incredibly low, and D-Mech again. Leaf going to be the person to do that. He follows up on the tonic. We're losing all their tag lines. Young and Beautiful haven't got a leg to stand on. Morning Stars going to take them all out. They came so close to forcing out that map 5, but they just didn't have the juice to finish it off. Morning Stars take the series 3-1.
After losing 3 or 4 fights on the bounce as well, that ult stacking is why ults are so important and why saving them for future fights can be so important as well. A good lesson for solo queue there is making sure you got them online, because all they had to do was deploy 2 or 3 and they managed to completely clear them out. Heartbreaking, I guess you could say, for Young and Beautiful. They could feel that comeback coming. You could see the confidence in their play building as well. Goats versus Goats. We said at the very start it was quite evident they could not win the mirror, but then started turning things back around. Unfortunately, Morning Stars do take the series 3-1, though. Young and Beautiful, it's back to the drawing board.
It's big credit to Young and Beautiful's mental game. And like you said, it was probably one of the worst first halves they could have suffered. They came back with a victory on Hanamura, and they took Morning Stars to the point where, hang on a minute, they could actually force out this 5th map. Fortunately, didn't get to that point. We're going to talk to our analysts, though, and they're going to break down that second half of the series.